All right, this is Debate on behalf of We Electronics, and in this video, we'll be looking at our marginal cost, average total cost curve, and average variable cost curve. All right, so starting off with the table of values that we worked on in the last video, okay, assuming that your marginal cost, okay, this is the change in the total cost divided by the change in quantity or number of units produced. This will be, say, for example, 0 for 0 units. For 1 unit, it will be 4. Okay, so 280 take away 200, divide by 20, take away 0, so 4. And then for 40 units produced by 2 workers, this will be 1. Okay, your ATC, 0, 14, 7.5. And again, this has to do with, say, for example, 280 total cost divided by 20 units. Okay, this will give you 14 for your ATC. And your variable will be 80 divided by 20 units, so 4 units altogether. Okay, and that's how you figure that one out. Now, if you were to graph this on a graph, if you were to plot this on a graph, okay, your average total cost will be about your average variable cost because average total cost is more than your average variable cost. So let's assume that you start off with 0. Let's assume that this is cost and this is quantity. Let's assume for 20 units, okay, your average total cost, okay, this is 14, so $14. So let's say this is 20. And this one over here, this is 14. So this will be 14 over here at some point. So this will go up to 14. And then it will gradually climb down. Okay, 7.5. So for 40 units produced, the average total cost is 7.5. So let's say 7.5 is somewhere over here, halfway through. So this will be 7.5, which means the curve will look something like this. And this is your average total cost curve, ATC. All right, next up, you have your average variable cost curve. So again, you start off with 0. Okay, and we know that for 1 or 20 units produced, you will have an average variable cost of $4, which means for 20 units, this will be a little lower than what we had for ATC. So let's say $4 over here. So you start off at 0, this will be $4. And then 2.5 for 2 workers or 40 units. So 40 units, this will be 2.5, so halfway through. So this will look something like this. All right, and this will be ABC, average variable cost curve. Whereas on the other side, your marginal cost, okay, which starts off at 0, and this will be 4, will be the same as your average variable cost, for example, for the time being. So let's say this is 4, okay, and it becomes 1, so $1 for, okay, 40 units. So the change in cost is $1 for 40 units. So this will be 1 somewhere over here. Okay, so your average, okay, your marginal cost rather looks something like this. So it basically intersects your average variable cost curve, so to speak. All right. So if you try to make sense of this, okay, your average total cost goes up, okay, to let's say, for example, 14 over here, okay, and eventually gradually climbs down, okay, as you produce more units. All right, same with your variable cost. It is high initially, okay, because of your fixed expenses, but then it keeps climbing down because of the number of units produced, because as you increase the total number of units produced, the cost is spread out over larger number of units, as a result of which your average cost, and this is the reason why we talk about the average cost, average variable and average total cost is reduced because of economy of scale. All right. Now, your marginal cost, again, you start off at 4, okay, $4 for 20 units. And then as you produce more units, let's say 40 units, your marginal cost is reduced to one, a dollar. Okay, and again, this has to do with economy of scale, the change in cost. Um, okay, this is high initially. Okay, however, as you produce more units, the average total cost, the average variable cost goes down. Okay, the total cost goes down. The average total cost goes down as a result of which your marginal cost goes down as well. Okay, your change in cost goes down. All right, and it keeps going down. Okay, as you produce more units until it reaches a peak, at which point, because of law of diminishing marginal product, okay, you will have an increase, okay, in your marginal cost, okay, as well as your average expenses. All right. So that would be it for this video. On behalf of Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.